so I want to get back to kind of talking about the value of the DJ
Yeah,
at weddings in general. And so, we were talking about, the just couples being informed,
yeah,
and I want to know the your perspective on the part that DJs kind of play in, our own value. And I ask that because, sometimes, um, even today, like I'll have, some people that'll reach out, and it's like, hey, I got this wedding, next month, and I'm like,
yeah,
what? You know what I mean? Like I've been booked for next month,
yeah.
like a while ago, and it's I think that sometimes it's like, hey, we just need somebody or whatever. And granted, there's those cases to where, a DJ has dropped out
Of
or whatever the
course.
case might be. But I'm not talking about those. I'm talking about just in general, the part that we play. How big of a part do you think that we play in our own value and just presenting that out to not only clients but just the wedding industry, the planners, the venues,
Hmm.
just letting them know, or presenting ourselves in a way to where they understand the value.
Yeah, man. I feel like it kind of goes back to that same kind of old cliche of knowing your worth and knowing what you bring to the table. Um, and it also goes hand in hand with educating that whether it's that couple, that venue owner, that wedding vendor. Um, it's not opinion based. It's a fact. Like your wedding day can go on if certain vendors decide not to show up. If your entertainment decides not to show up, you're not gonna have like a wedding day, or you're not gonna. I mean, it's gonna be like a
Not gonna be a
dinner.
great day. Yeah.
Exactly. So our role is super, super, super important in that, man. And we see it all the time, right? And I feel like we've all been there to a degree. Like for myself, I'll go back to when I first got into this. Um, Man, I didn't have the experience. I didn't have the skill set. I didn't have that arsenal of, wedding entertainment skills, at my hands and fingertips. And so my rates reflected that. You were getting a 20-year-old kid at the time who didn't have much experience, who barely had a sound system that kind of sort of worked most of the time,
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
these things, right? But when we fast forward to what we're doing today, it's like, hey, you know what? We're not for everyone. Not everyone will see our value, but the people that do, that's who we're for. And those are the people that value it. Like you said, the person that calls and says, hey, my wedding is next month, unless they had a scenario where like their entertainment left them high and dry or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
if that's not a scenario and they just waited because they just waited, then this is not at the top of their priority list, and that's okay. It just means that we're probably not the company for them.
Yeah.
They're probably the couple who would benefit from renting a speaker, plugging up that software, and hitting
Uh huh.
shuffle, and for them it may be just the same. So I think it all goes back to what I said at the beginning, man. Just knowing your worth, knowing what you bring to the table, and also being able to present that. That's another one too. Like, a lot of guys will say, "Hey, man, I have all this value and I want to charge this much." Great, but if you can't put that into words and show and explain and literally show that value, it's gonna be hard to do, man.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I mean, it's tough, as you grow, or even you want to grow, to start to find a way to exhibit that value, right? Or even just like in my case, to where, I had already exhibited a certain amount of growth before, I went out on my own. It's hard to say, like, I'm worth this much,
Yep.
if I have nothing behind me to show and prove that me on my own or this company or whatever can actually give you what you want. So I have to, be humble enough to take a few steps back and say, hey, like, yes, I can do your wedding, and as, even though I'm not charging you what I want to charge you at this
Yeah,
time, like, I know that I'm gonna get there.
for sure.
And so, yeah, I think that's beneficial.